forward to this computer. Welcome, Stacey and Zach, to today's activity. Really, what I want to do is just run you through a brief overview of what this platform does and how it integrates with Xero, so you can see how you might be able to use it, cash flow management and those sort of things in your business. Just a bit of my background. Mike Krause is my name. I've had a history of farm business management consulting, not unlike Tony Hudson, which I know Stacey and Zach, you both know. But probably 10 years ago, we've turned it around, our company around, to provide this software. So we've produced the software and continue with its development. A lot of farmers give us great feedback about the ease of use of the program. It does take a bit of data, but once you've got your data in, it gives great analytics of the business. Advisors tell me it saves 70% of their time over their Excel spreadsheets. And I know, Zach, you're in New South Wales. We're running a short course through P2PAgri College where farmers can use their own data to put in using our software to put data in, and they get a vet training qualification, but more importantly, they get a greater understanding of their own farming business and understand the financial literacy type stuff that goes around that. And there also, P2PAgri tells us we've produced a gold standard in distance learning for them. So farmers don't have to leave. We run it all through Zoom like we're in today. Let me just share my screen with you. And I just want to, now, Stacey, I can see you there. Can you see our website?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. So this is our website, and I'm also the author of a book called Farming the Business, which is like a textbook in farm business management, and GRDC produce it. We wrote it for them, and it also becomes a text for our training, and also it's used right around Australia, universities and TAFEs and things like that. You can grab access to that, go to our website and you can click the links, and shows you how to get access to that. So I'm just now going to jump into our software. So Zach, you can see it looks like a mallee, South Australian mallee farm below with a few paddocks drawn on it.
Yep.
Okay. So when you first get into P2PAgri, this is your landing page effectively. You can see me clicking on the left-hand side. This is the menu for the program, and it's designed that we start from essentials and go through to scenario analysis. There's also a timeline, so you can see there's years above, and if the years are black rather than grayed out, it means there's data in them. So by default, we can record past data, so it becomes a really good record of previous years, as well as focusing on this season and then projecting up to 5 years when we're looking at ahead, and particularly with major decision-making like purchasing additional land and that sort of thing. I'll just come back to that in a minute. Wherever you find yourself in the program, there's quite a lot of help available. So if I just click on the help button, you can see some headings come over. You can click on those, and generally there's small little training videos that go from about 2 minutes to 6 minutes about that particular part of the program. So that'll give you an insight into the program, as well as there's references to the Farming the Business book if you want to know a bit about the theory of good farm business management. So that's the outline. I just want to talk to you the different levels that we use and just focus on how we're integrating with Xero. So on the left-hand side, in Essentials, research shows that 75% of Australian farmers don't even understand the tax return data that comes out of their business. And part of our training with P2PAgri is that we educate farmers how to understand their tax returns. And we feel that's really important because this is what the bank uses as your financial Bible of your business. So if you can understand how they look at your business through your tax returns, you're going to be able to talk with them a lot more effectively and impress them to get lower interest rates. And a number of our advisors have achieved that with their farming clients. So this is just a bit of an output. So this is a particular farm where we've pulled in, nearly 10 years of data. We can see what their profitability trends have been, what their income and expenditure trends are, what their asset movements have been, liabilities, and some key performance indicators that banks use and also advisors use to look at how efficiently you've been running your business. So that's our first link with Xero, is that if you're on Xero and you've got a number of years of data in Xero, we can pull the data in from Xero. It saves a lot of data re-entry. So that's one link we do with Xero. But the more important link we do with Xero is in Season. So Season's about putting our business data in from the paddock up. So we tell the program what paddocks we've got. We tell the program what enterprises we've got on those paddocks this year. And once we've got our data in, then we can look at things like gross margins. So where effectively we making the most money in our business? So we can drill down, and in this example, we're making the most money in canola, followed by wheat, then by peas, and then by barley before we come to the livestock. But don't mistake this for your business, because your business will be significantly different to this one. But we pull out things like gross margins. We can project forward your profitability and your balance sheets and other major indicators. We can also do costs of production and target profits. So Season, and the more important thing about Season 2 is that it's about cash flow management. So that's one level. The more advanced level of our program, we click into Future, and this allows us to project forward for the next 5 years. And I get advisors and farmers to look at a bad season, a good season, so they get an understanding of the risk profile of their business. And once I've got a 5-year view of their business, then we've got scenario analysis, where we can look at complex questions like, oh, I've got 2 parcels of land to look at purchasing. Do I purchase one? Do I purchase the second one? Or do I purchase both of them? So we can put that analysis in, and the program shows us quite clearly what the likely outcome of those will be. So that can be quite complex, or it could be simple as changing our rotations, or deciding to take the sheep out and build up more of our cattle and see what the impact it is on our business. So that's scenario analysis and Future. But I'm just going to come back to cash flow, because that's what we're really looking at today, to see how we can use Xero more effectively in managing our cash flow. So I'll just demonstrate. First of all, what we do in P2PAgri is get you to do your cash flow planning, and you can decide as a farmer what farming year you are is best suiting for you. So in this example, we're starting in March and we're going through to February. So we're not restricted to a financial year, and that's really good for farm business analytics, because we're capturing the income and the expenditure of the same season to give us good things like, what's our return on assets managed, and what sort of efficiencies are we generating. So we select the farming year, and I'll just demonstrate to you data entry. Barley, this example, this farm with the number of paddocks they've got in and the yield and the price for barley tells us the expected accrual income for barley this year is about $736,000. So what we can tell the program is, when are we expecting this barley to come into our checkbook or come into our bank account? So we've got new season barley coming in December, January, and February. And it looks like we've got a payment from last season's barley that we may have stored, and we've got a payment of $250,000 coming in March. So this is how we build up the cash flow expectation of our business. So because we've already told the program how many paddocks we've got and what we're doing with them, it'll estimate or measure what income you're likely to get in that year. And then it's up to you to tell the program how much is likely to come in each month. And it goes through each income item. And if I keep scrolling down, it'll go through each expenditure item. So for example, if we've got a chemical bill of $368,000, well, when are we likely to spend for those chemical activities? So basically, once you've gone through the program to cash flow, you've built up a set of accounts in the program, And we then do our 12-month activity. You can click on charts and you can see the light blue line is our projected monthly cash flow for the rest of the year. This is what we think might happen. If we're using an overdraft, it'll tell us what our overdraft capacity we require, when we're likely to need it. So then the bank can say, oh, okay, I need to make the maximum overdraft available to this farm in September, October, November, before the grain payments start coming in. Now, one thing to do is to do planning the cash flow. The other thing is actually to use the cash flow in an effective way and put actual data in. So this makes the whole cash flow process work for you as a farmer rather than just for the bank. So if I click into actual, we could have finished March. Now, at the moment, I know we're towards the end of March and no farmers have probably done their reconciliation of March, but I'll just demonstrate how we pull in the data from Xero. So I'm going to click on import from Xero and going to connect to Xero. So the program's going off now and saying hello to your Xero file. Now, Stacey, you said you're a bookkeeper, so you might have a number of different clients. In this example, I've got a number of different clients too. I'm just going to bring in that particular client's data in P2PAgri. It's going away now and it's thinking about it. It's gone to P2PAgri and said, okay, I'm now connected. Which month would you like to bring in? So we have the ability to select which month, but obviously at the moment, March is probably the most recent data if we've done some data entry. And you can see in this farm example, on the left-hand side, we've got the Xero set chart of accounts. So plant and equipment sales, this farm this month sold about bit over $250,000 of plant and equipment. But then this is their expenses of administration and bank fees and council rates, fuel, etc. Now, that's what's come in from Xero, and that's the amount. The matched item, so this is really the account categories that you've created in P2PAgri. So some of you, if you've already got your Xero organized, you could use your chart of accounts from Xero as you're setting up P2PAgri, but I'll just show you how we can match them. So that council rates, for example, if I scroll down, and I know that council rates is down here somewhere, where are we? Council rates. So there we go, I've matched council rates. So when council rates come in from Xero, P2PAgri knows, yep, we've got to match that to our council rates, and that's the amount. We're happy with that. The next one down is fuel and oil. So we've got fuel and oil here, we'll match that. So we go through and match up all of our account categories. Once we've done that, we can hit save, and P2PAgri will remember those matchings. So this time next month in April, and then in May, and in June, it'll remember those matchings. But it might be that you've got another account category that's used next month that wasn't used this month. So you might have to do a little bit of matching over the first couple of months. And then you scroll down to the bottom. If you're happy with all that, then you hit save, and the program then pulls this data into P2PAgri. So I'll just show to you so that if I scroll down in actual now, I'll just double check that I'm in actual. Yes. If I scroll down in actual now, remember we brought in council rates and we brought in fuel and oil. So fuel and oil has come in. I've actually played around with this program and put some other month actuals in there, but the fuel and oil's come in, as well as, let's have a look at those council rates, because I reckon they're about $7,500. Sorry guys, I'm making you giddy really. Trying to look for this council rates. There we go. If I click into there, so that $7,800 has come in from Xero. So we can build up an actual picture after each month occurs in Xero. And there's a couple other capabilities in P2PAgri. I'll just hit the little double arrow to take us to the top. So we have the ability to do plan and actual. There's also another capability called rolling, where it could be that we're halfway through the season and the season's turned out to be much better than we think. So we might want to go back and revisit our planned cash flow and spend a bit of more money that we have available. It might be fixing up replacing the fence, the boundary fence out the back, or it could be swapping over a machine or something like that. So that's what rolling's about. And if I click into there, we can see this example, we've had March, April, May, July actuals. So it allows us to then manage what's coming future. So we might have initially estimated barley income of 600,000 in January, but we think, no, we've got a good barley year on our hands. It might be nearly $1 million that'll come in. So we can alter that. And then if we go to charts, we can see the light blue line was our original plan cash flow that we may have given to the bank. The green part of this line is the actual data that's coming in from Xero. And then this might be July, and we want to replan out the rest of this monthly cash flow. And so we might end up with more of a surplus at the end of the year than what we predicted originally. We have a series of reporting availability too. We can click into comparison. And if we were sitting on the advisory board of your business, for example, and we wanted to look at the first quarter of this year, we can actually look at the planned total of feed barley, the actual total of feed barley that came in, and this would indicate that we've got a drop of about 4% or a decrease of about $10,000. So we haven't been too bad with our estimates. You can scroll down, and if you've got data in the other income areas and other expenditure areas, you can really scrutinize your plan to actual. If you don't want to just depend on the screen, print reports, there's a whole lot of printed reports you can create as a PDF, or you can pull in the planned cash flow or the actual cash flow or the rolling cash flow in as a CSV file and further scrutinize the data if that's what you'd like to do. So that's our integration with Xero. It makes life a lot easier for farmers who want to do the planned and actual activity, especially if they use Xero. You don't have to use Xero. You can still manually put this data in if you wanted to. So I might stop there, Zach and Tracy, and let you perhaps ask me some questions. So those who are watching the video, if you want to get access to our software, you can click the demo button and have a look at the demo, or you can click the buy button and have a look at the price ranges and go through that process. If you want access to the book, GRDC sell it for a huge price of $10 a copy, or you can get it freely from iTunes, an ebook that it can be downloaded on your iPad or Mac. There's also a link to the Tocal Ag College if you want to find more information out about that. So I'll just stop the recording here. There we go. And I'll go back and, well, Stacey and Zach, we're not on recording anymore, so you're free to ask questions, and I'll go back to the software. Stacey, did I pass the simple test?
Yes. No, that was all good. I just had a couple questions. Are you able to update the data? So obviously you'll do March, April, May data, and sometimes that data changes within Xero. Are you able then to resync it?
Yeah, you can go back. Say, for example, you've downloaded March, and now you've found yourself in June, and your bookkeeper's finally arrived and adjusted what I was doing in March, and we've adjusted that. You can go back into Xero, re-bring in March, and it'll copy over what you've had there previously.
Yeah. And is it only the accruals that it's bringing over, not the cash?
Good question, Stacey. The biggest problem we have with Xero is that they only let us bring in profit and loss when we can't bring in cash. It's just a rule that they have, but we've overcome that. Profit and loss is pretty close to cash, but the only thing it doesn't bring is the loan repayments. Say if you're doing tractor repayments or something like that. So at the bottom, where is it? No, let's pull in Xero. I'll show you again. So go to actual. Where's the Xero button? Has it disappeared on me? Let's click out of here. What's happened to the Xero button? Okay, it's not there at the moment, Stacey. But as you brought your data into from Xero, the bottom table, you've already told us in P2PAgri in the planned what loan repayments you're expecting to come in. Because in the program itself, this is actually a modeling tool. So in the liabilities, you've already told us the range of land loans you have and the range of machinery loans. Now, it's a modeling tool, as in that boom spray, we might owe 169,000 on it this year, but next year we're going to have, after the next repayment, that'll drop down. So the program's smart enough to know that. But when we come into the cash flow, we go down to the loan repayments section. It's told us what loans you've got and what amounts you've got. So say the boom spray, for example, we have to, annual payment is 88,000. And then we can say, look, looks like 3 equal payments were arranged. So that's our payment. So we've told the program when we're paying and what month we're paying. So when we get to that month's actual, it'll show us, oh, you had a, I don't know, $22,000 payment for the boom spray this month. Did that occur? And if it did, just hit save and it pulls it into the actual cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Stacey, that's a bit technical. But
No, that's okay, because that's what I have issues is with the cash versus the accrual on budget versus planned.
Is there a lot of difference between cash and profit and loss in Xero?
Yes, there will be.
Is there a significant difference?
Sometimes, depending on the loans and with the GST and the super payments as well with payroll.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, the idea is that once you put it in actual and you brought your Xero data, you can still edit the data in here.
Yeah.
So you can still, go into Canola if there's, Xero data here. You could overtype it if you wanted, but you can also enter that in. Just to demonstrate that loan repayment, sorry, that import from Xero has returned for me. I'll just go down to March. So say we brought this March data in again. If I scroll down to the bottom of this sheet, you've got all the loan repayments. So, you've already told me that I've got a CBA loan. I'm expecting to pay nearly $18,000 this month. You can change that if it didn't occur, but it's assuming it has occurred, and you can leave the schedule there as to what you originally planned that was going to happen. I'd imagine loan repayments are pretty close to actual when you do your planning for the year.
Yeah. What about the payroll side of things with the GST and the super? In regards to. Yeah,
good question, Stacey. I might have to go through an example with you, but you can see superannuation has been brought in from Xero here.
Yeah.
If you've got a superannuation category in here, which I may not have in this example, you can marry it up and compare it and save it from there. But that probably doesn't answer your question about. Actually, there should be no GST on payroll, is there?
No, there's not. But just in regards to when you're physically actually paying the GST amount, looking at your cash, like when you're actually spending the cash.
Well, these numbers are basically GST exclusive numbers coming in from Xero. If I just click back to cash flow in plan, then there's a category there you can add in any GST payment or earning in a row. So that would be a manual thing, probably, Stacey, to enter in. Okay, good questions though. Zach, you've probably got questions.
No, they were really good questions. The first couple was what I was going to ask, but they were way more in depth than what I was going to ask. I'm not really that deep into the bookkeeping, so I'm still learning Xero as we speak. So no, they were good.
Did that look easy enough for you, Zach?
Yep. I'm more like probably the actual operation side of the farm, but wanting to be more knowledgeable in the numbers, basically. That's something I really struggle with.
I don't know, would you like to go through some sort of course like the Tocal course?
I would. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. You're a grain grower or a grazier or both?
Both.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Well, Stacey,
Which day it is.
New South Wales farmers can get that $2,000 course for free at the moment.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
So just dive in. I think you guys are about to have an election this weekend. Whether
Apparently.
it changes after that, I don't know. But if you dive in quickly, you might be able to get booked into the next course that we're running.
Yep.
Go
Sounds
from
good.
there.
Sounds good.
Sorry, Stacey, it's only available for New South Wales farmers, not for Victorian farmers. But I think you've got probably a lot of, obviously, bookkeeping knowledge and things like that. It's more, I guess, this platform was originally designed for farmers to look at the good analytics that they can get from their business. And then we've sort of put in the cash flow capability more recently.
Yeah, we've been using it just with the guy that who we use it with about scenario based like planning for future projects basically, and just seeing how that would affect our bottom line and et cetera. So
it's been really effective for that, Zach. And I don't know, is that the sort of thing that would be interest to you, Stacey, too? The scenario stuff, what if we buy the next door neighbour out? Do you get involved in that?
Yeah, a little bit of it. We're always buying and selling machinery and things like that, and it's good to see what sort of crops that are grown, because they're both graziers and cereal crops and things like that as well. So, and I've also got a dairy farm as well. So sometimes I'd like to do a bit more of the analytics on those, in regards to milk production and things like that as well. So just having the history sort of in there as well, but it's more, what we're budgeting on and the actuals. So we have to report to the bank every quarter on our budget versus actuals, and that's on the whole P&L and balance sheet side of things as well. So I'm just trying to, after a one-stop shop, that I can get all the analytics out of it, and also just do the the budgeting cash flow side of things as well. So we've just prepared budgets. Basically, that's just on Excel. But it's always good just to, just do the budgeted versus the cash flow side of thing to see where we sit every couple of months. So having a program that'll just run it all together will make it life easier. Yeah.
Well, Zach would have probably seen these, but you can get a thumbnail view of, what you expected the profitability to be, what assets are being managed, what liabilities are, what the cash flows are looking like, some of the dials that the banks might be interested in, like, finance ratio or overhead cost ratio, those sort of things. That's where you can see it at a glance. But if you're looking for more detailed reports, like in Zach's case, he might want to know what areas are going into different crops and what that is as a percentage of the total land being managed. You can do DSE calculations in here, Zach. So, what DSEs are being supplied and demanded. You talked about profit and loss then, Stacey. So this is an estimate of the profit and loss for this year, given our estimates of yields and prices and costs. So we can drill down and look at what we think the profitability expectations are. And also the balance sheets are given a reasonable amount of detail with the current assets, non-current assets, the liabilities, non-current liabilities, and where the net worth is sitting. Plus there's other indicators. If you're talking to banks, you can actually get the individual results and shows you what the banks think is weak or strong. And if you wanted to print out PDFs and send them off to the bank, there's a whole raft of PDFs you can create. All the reports, you can select which reports you wanted to go into, create the PDF and email that off.
Yeah.
In
regards to, say, the loans on plant and equipment, is there a way just to print or to import those lists? So I had a question from the bank the other day that they wanted all the finance loans that we had with all the different banks, the interest rates, the current balance, the market value of the equipment.
Oh, okay. So they want a phone book worth. Okay.
Yeah.
So in P2PAgri, once you've entered all your loans in that sheet, you've got a liability schedule. So it says, this is the outstanding amounts that you have for each loan, and it gives you a total liability, as well as a repayment schedule for the year.
Yep.
So what your annual repayments are broken down into principal and interest.
Yep.
So you can get reports on that. You talked about asset values. So in assets, if we put in I encourage farmers to put all their machines in and to put their market values in.
Yep.
And then we use market depreciation, not tax depreciation, which is a little bit different than tax world.
Yep.
Plus you've got all your livestock, if you want a livestock valuation, plus you've got land. So we value also the land that is leased in share farm, because that's part of the return on asset calculation. Plus users can put different farms in here or even different titles in here to get a more accurate value of land. And you can get reports on that.
So those assets and liabilities, so if we're doing a statement of position at different times during the year, are they just basically as at the end of, say, February 24, or depending on what the...
Yeah. If you might have had, grain on hand or grain in pools, just update what's on hand, and then it'll give you what it thinks the asset and liability statement is on the time you're doing it.
Yeah.
So if I go to reports now, click into here, balance sheet reports. So if you had things on hand, obviously things like machinery and land doesn't change value much.
Yeah.
But you might have, and stock values probably don't change greatly. They do a bit, but from breeding stock, it's probably more stable. So you could update those on hand type numbers and then print out another balance sheet for them. And it's broken to all the current liabilities and those other things.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've got Ellie there too. Ellie, you might have some questions for me, if you can hear me.
Hi, Mike. I'm just having a play with it now on my end, just trying to upload the Xero.
Oh, yeah.
And I've worked out, so the drop-down menu for the expenses, when you're allocating what each expense actually should be allocated to in P2P,
Yeah.
I'm guessing that list is just what's already in P2P, not what's in Xero.
No, the list on the left-hand side is coming from Xero, and the matching is what you've already created in P2PAgri. And if you have found a category not there that you want, you can always save that, go back into P2PAgri, add it in the right area, whether it's a variable cost or an overhead cost or a loan or something like that, then go back and re-import it from Xero. Once you've hit the save button in that first download from Xero, P2PAgri will remember those numbers and remember the matching you've done up till then. So then you can come back and continue to do your matching.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Ellie?
So where do I go? So I'd have to go back into financials and add those.
If it's a financial, what do you think you're missing?
I didn't have, well, there's the thing, it wasn't coming up with bank fees in the drop-down list when I tried to allocate a bank fee that had popped up through Xero. Yeah, if I go into our financials, I have got bank fees on there.
Okay, if you scroll down to the bottom of the screen, are the bank fees in the loans section?
In when you're importing the Xero.
When you're importing from Xero, yeah. They're in the loan section, because we try to keep all the finance costs together. Sorry, Stacey, Ellie's looking for that. This is some of the output you get from the scenario analysis, Stacey. Yep. So this is a farm that's not going particularly well at the moment from a cash flow perspective. I've modelled some poorer seasons and good seasons, and it looks like they're making bigger losses out of a poorer season then they're making it a good season, and the average season about break even. So you can see the quality of the business you're dealing with, and also when you're doing different scenarios. I put a higher wheat price in for 2023 just to see what impact that might have from accumulative cash, from profitability. Equity hasn't changed things much, and return on assets managed. So that's part of the training and support we can lead you through how to do that.
Yep.
Sorry, Ellie, do you want me to demonstrate that for you?
Yeah. Well, I can't even get back to where I was with the. Do I have to press import again, or?
Yeah, you'll have to connect to Xero again.
Yeah.
It's like I'm doing here. And I'll just check to see if we've got bank fees.
Oh, okay.
See, this example, we've got bank fees as the bottom entry in the financing table, which is under loans at the bottom.
Yeah, okay, rightio. So why has it come up?
If you like, Ellie, I can jump onto Zoom with you, and then we can share your screen. I'll have another look if you want.
Yeah, for some reason I've got it in both. I've got it bank fees under expenses and bank fees in the loan section.
You may have entered bank fees as addition in your fixed cost of P2PAgri, but by default, bank fees are already in there, so you shouldn't have to.
So that's right. It's only $10.
I'm not sure whether it's a good assumption, Zach or Stacey, but most farmers deal with banks, so they've always got bank fees to pay. Yeah. Stacey, does that help answer most of your questions?
Yes, and I just have another one, just in regards to the P2PAgri chart of accounts, I suppose. Where is that? Like, I think one of our files is already set up, but if we wanted to add additional accounts,
categories,
P2PAgri,
yep.
Does that start with the essential side of things, or? No,
it's all built up in season.
Yeah,
so
right.
If we go to livestock, we might have selected prime lambs, self-replacing sheep, feedlot cattle and cattle. Any income coming from there is a separate line item, which you may have combined in Xero. But in P2PAgri, we can separate, say if you had lamb sales and the lamb sales were a mixture of self-replacing sheep and prime lambs, you could split those in the import, and we could split the income between those two enterprises if you wanted to. Do you want me to demonstrate that to you?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so if I go to cash flow and I'll go to import again.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump off here, guys.
Thanks, Zach, for that. Do you want me to send you the URL, or are you happy to jump into our website?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, okay. No worries, mate. Nice seeing you.
Thanks very much.
And we'll catch you again soon. See you, Zach.
All right, see you, Zach.
Sorry, I'll just bring in March. This doesn't have a lot of income in March for this particular farm, but I'll just demonstrate if I come down to wages. See how in wages here, Stacey, we've just got one amount coming in from Xero?
Yep.
On P2PAgri and to the right, we can hit the plus button. And this allows us then to say, okay, there's more people here that we might want to split that wage between. So you can just then type over and put whatever wage payment that you wanted to allocate between the people in the business. And then if you've got that as a line item in P2PAgri, well, then it'll put it in that line item. It's up to you then, I guess, to match that 15,700
with those,
so that you're not over allocating or under allocating. You okay with that?
Yep. No, that's fine.
So that's how you do it if you did more detail in P2PAgri.
Yeah.
I just want to show you can actually delete those once you've got in there.
Yeah.
And it's only once you've hit save down below that the program remembers that's how your matching is going.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Now, Ellie, you're still there. if you wanted to go back, well, this might be for you, Stacey, too. If I click, so the accounts categories that are created in P2PAgri are really by default, depending on what enterprises the farm is running and what details they want to put in. So, for example, if we're putting the variable costs for cropping in, here that we've defined chemicals, crop insurance, fertilizer. So the user defines those, and each one of these is a line item in our chart of accounts.
And so it looks like you can add variable costs in there as well, another line item, is that right?
Well, these are variable costs.
Yep, but if you wanted to add another variable cost.
Yeah, so say, I don't know what I've forgotten here, but it might have been, we're not going to do preg testing for lambs, but you know, we could define what we wanted.
Yeah.
Say it's pruning. I don't know. This is a vineyard, and we had pruning costs of $200 a hectare. We can always add that in. So this is telling to get us to do gross margins, we need to know the cost per hectare of the different variable costs. Now I'll just hit add, and that should add it. I'll just go back and make sure I hit that one, hit add. Looks like my internet's a bit slow. It'll add it to the list above in alphabetical order, and then that'll become another light item. There it is. So pruning's in there. If I scroll down, just to give you an idea of the annual costs that all those variable costs are, pruning's been added, and depending on the areas, it's pretty expensive at 700,000. So that's a ridiculous number, but that's, all those then become line items in our cash flow.
Yep.
Okay. I'll just go back and take pruning out because you generally don't do pruning in dryland farming.
Yeah. So those variable costs a hectare, are they worked out by the cost down below?
No, you'd have to work that out yourself with the client.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But that below is given to you as a bit of a validation test.
Yeah.
You know, am I expecting to see a fuel bill of 91,000? Yes, I am. Great. We're on target.
Yeah, because I'd be working the opposite way. I'd have what the cost is and then have to go back to work out what the hectares are, cost per hectare.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Most farmers would probably operate that way. This just allows us, I guess, to get them on top of their numbers more.
Yeah.
So they're getting their cost per hectare. Do you happen to have a copy of that, Stacey?
No, I don't have a copy. I probably have segments of it because I've been to a few of the GRDC stuff. But yeah, I don't have the full copy of that one.
On page 88, it gives a few rules of thumb of how to work out the dollars per hectare if you don't have a accurate recording and things like that. Do you have an iPad?
No.
Okay, or Mac, righto. So you can actually go to the website and download PDF copies if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Ellie, you're probably still mucking around there with importing of Xero, are you?
Yeah, I'm still playing. I haven't spent enough time on it lately to be efficient yet.
Okay. Well, we can stay on here, and once Stacey goes, you can share your screen and I'll have a look with you. Stacey, have I answered most of your queries or questions?
Yes, I think the issue is if I need to convert over to Xero from QuickBooks. So that's just a bit of a big bookkeeping one at the moment.
Okay.
So,
if you had a client already in P2PAgri, I guess you could use the chart of accounts here to guide what you want to set up in Xero.
yeah.
Or if you've got Xero already set up, then you can use that as a bit of a guide here. If I print out, say, a cash flow or download a CSV file, that will give you then the automatic chart of accounts that's in P2PAgri.
Yeah.
If someone's completed all their data entry.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there's another report we've added recently, which you may find of interest, where you do cash flow plan to actual, and it'll actually download a PDF where it's showing you the chart of accounts, but then the white row is the plan, and then the grey row is the actual.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So you can see, okay, we've got a higher payment coming in for barley. Was that a timing thing, or was that because we've had more barley than we thought about, or something like that?
Yeah. Yep.
And again, you might find that useful for cash flow management purposes.
Yep. No, all very good.
Okay.
I
So
will leave you to it. You and Ellie can nut out the rest.
not out the other. That's fine. Stacey, how would you like to leave it? Do you want me to follow you up, or do you want to think about it, or get back to me with more queries or questions?
Yep, I'll follow you up. I think I've just because we've got access. I can get access to the P2PAgri file that Tim had, but I obviously can't do any data changes or anything because
Okay.
he's got the subscription or
So
something to it.
Tim's
So,
got the subscription, he's using it on your behalf.
yes.
So you might want to become a client and then take over that responsibility. Is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Thinking something like that.
And also I can make available training videos and things like that for you too, Stacey.
Yep. Rightio then.
You might
All
find
right.
that useful. Okay.
Yep. Great.
I've got your email there, so I might just drop you an email in a week to see how you're getting on.
Yep. All right then. No, that sounds good.
Great. Okay.
All right
Thanks,
then.
Stacey.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.